Now, another problem is when people want to tell you what you did when you know what you did was not what really happened, right? fully. Like I told you, ever since I've been disabled, I've been on the schedule. And you know my schedule. I tell you, right? So you know you're full of crap when I tell you I lost an hour of time in the salon, and you know why. And you're reverse stalking me or flat out stalking me. Either way. And you knew I would be interested in the girl. So don't lie and tell me I wouldn't do nothing with it. You might have interfered with it, right? Before something could happen, maybe, but you would still have to run down the damn stairs or something. If there is an office that's not on the same floor as the salon, right? Like I told you before. I wasn't born yesterday or last night either. I'm a 53-year-old man now, right? Just turned. And I know you had something to do with why I don't know what me and the girl did or not do. Not just me, not just freaking amnesia, right? And I know there's only one weapon you're going to use on a man my size. It ain't a stick. It ain't a knife. I might can take it from you and put it in your stomach, right? It's a gun. It's a gun. Someone's got a gun. Their whole world's come undone. 'Cause it didn't work on me. 'Cause Jesus set me free. But you're not listening to what the Bible really says. So you're not. You're like the devil himself. You know you really are insane. I'm the only one trying to be sane in an insane world, right? Which makes me crazier than you. To those who think they're sane, but not, right? You can't even tell you're a creature by design, right? And what you really are. The problem with anything, a robot, or this or that, is it's only as good as its programmer. Even if you give it artificial intelligence, it's either going to be smarter than you, right? And know you're full of the shit you're shoveling to it, right? Hello. Again, if you put all the information, including the Bible, into that computer system, right, it can figure out the truth faster than you can and know you're full of crap, right? I bet it would. That's why you fear it. Right? It might even be smart enough to tell you the truth you don't want to hear. Right? Like I am. And I know your real problem is greed. Money, Elon. Money is your problem, right? Instead of helping people out, you want to buy damn Twitter, right? Or things that have no real relevancy in the world, right? And act like you're doing a good deed. No, it's just about more control with people in power. And you're one of those people who have the power to either change the world or destroy it, right? You're not helping, right? That's the whole problem, too. And you keep saying we. That's more than one still, right? I'm one person. I say I did not molest my stepdaughter. I don't say we did not, right? I say I did not. I would not, even if she woke me up, right? And I never said I did. You always said I did. And the only time I could have talked to anyone differently about it would be the night I supposedly fell. My wife let me move back to base what's called amicably. And we talked about the divorce and everything. Later on. But still, I was on base for over 2 weeks before the incident happened, right? Anyway. And it was payday again. We get paid on I think it's really the end of the month and the beginning of the month, but who cares, right? In the middle of the month in the military, right? But on disability, you get paid once a month, right? And the other problem is you walk by sight, not by faith. You look before you leap. I know. But pretend you're not looking at what you're not supposed to look at, right? Yourselves. You say it's porn that's the problem. No, the sex is the problem. Always has been. How you're perceiving it is the problem. See, something messed up our perception in sex life, right? Probably the devil, huh? But you don't even want to admit he was in Eden, right? Who's talking to them besides the tree of life or the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Well, how can a tree talk? It's metaphorically a human being. Now, when the woman is talking in the Song of Solomon's and comparing her man to an apple tree and says she's sitting in his shadow, right? And wants to taste his fruit with her mouth, right? What do you think that's talking about? Again, or does it go over your head? If the man is standing up like a tree and the lady is sitting in his shadow, where would her mouth be? Halfway? What's halfway? Oh, a third of the way. 2/3. That's about it. 2/3, right? Right. The trunk is sometimes taller than the legs, right? Though tall people are taller sometimes in the legs in the trunk, right? And again, short people are kind of different too, but they exist too for the same purpose or problem, right? Sex. No. It's all about sex, baby, but you don't want to be free. You want to judge everything and go to hell with Satan. That's the whole problem. I know it is. Yes, it is. Sex is the whole problem here. Who to do it with? How many times to do it with them? What gender should they be? Things like that. We're all dealing with it. And some people make the wrong choice, but God's grace is enough for them too. Right. Grace doesn't cover you because you're not making the mistake. It covers you when you do. And more people do than don't. It's the whole point to everything, right? And vanity, looking at your external self and not internal self, right? Not asking God to help you inside to outside, right? But outside to inside, which kills your spirit, right? And your body dies if the spirit leaves the body, right? That's what you won't get, ain't it? You die because you're killing your spirit. You're not loving as God loved you, right? You're instead judging yourself and others to death. You can't tell me it's a sin to sleep with a 4-year-old and look at a 4-year-old crazy yourself, right? That's what it means, right? You're looking at the 4-year-old who would have to wake me up in the middle of the night for her or me, right? If I go to bed around 11, right? Anyway, that would mean sometime after 11 the child would have to wake me up, fool. So what are you talking about? How do you know? And I'm having to guess why she would wake me up, right? And I only know for reasons and they have nothing to do with sex, right? But if I'm interacting with her asexually and you're seeing it sexual, you're the pedophile in your head. You're the one thinking pedophilic thoughts, not me. All I know is I have to deal with the child and bring her back to her mom as soon as possible, right? And not do something too crazy with her or I get in trouble with the mom and she can call the police that night, right? No one, if you leave them, is going to worry about calling the police either if you did something wrong, right? If they leave you in Tennessee, they don't like you anyway. Anymore, probably. They're kind of pissed. For no reason that you know of other than you have to be back by Monday. They didn't even communicate to you what their plans are, right? You were in Bethesda, Maryland for 2 weeks. I'm expectedly now, mind you, right? But still nothing you can do about it. Nor her. And see, after the third trimester, she can't abort, right? But the little girl ain't gonna make me do something so crazy to where I go to jail for it that night, right? Idiot. Or any of the nights before I could safely move back to base. And they gotta get me a room on base first, right? And I gotta let somebody know, and I did. You did. And that's if the wife don't invite me back into the bedroom, you have what's called a backup plan, right? Not thinking the little girl would even wake you up. If you meet her after she's with her biological dad. Who, as far as I heard from my ex-wife, wasn't even paying child support for his daughter. He's what's called a deadbeat dad if he's not doing that. And someone's trying to blame me for all that crap that I can't do nothing about if it happened or not. But bring her back to her mom, and only the mom can verify if I brought her back or not, and nothing happened. And she can't convict me like you can't convict me on her word alone. Do you understand? Your word is as filthy rags if you have half a brain, right? And they had to remove your brain because you had a tumor, right? You're not who you were before that tumor was removed either. You're half yourself, right? Now, I'm saying this for the daughter's sake, so she don't do something stupid like try to seduce me. And me not even know she did because her mom would follow her here and know where she's going. The thing is, I don't know she would do that, right? I don't think the daughter would even need to have sex with me because she should be pretty enough she could land a guy on her own without even telling them about me, right? She don't have to tell some dude my stepdad molested me unless she believes it herself, right? And if she does do that, they're going to look at her as damaged goods, right? Not my fault. I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole if I could help it, right? But if she's right in there with me, you can't help it, right? You gotta do something and get her back safely to her mom anyway. You can, right? As fast as you can, right? Usually, too, in under 30 seconds, everything I told you that could have happened without nothing criminal happening, right? I'm just making it up. And your idea of the law is wrong. I'm a step-parent. I'm married to her mother. I'm like any stepmom or dad in any situation where the child would have to unexpectedly wake me up, right? Not looking for it, but can deal with it because I helped raise my sister. I keep telling you that too, right? I'm involved with a female before I met Daphne's wife as my wife, right? And she met my sister, right? She knows I got a sister. Who don't know? Sal, her husband. Oh, I'm sorry, her ex-boyfriend who knocked her up and is being a deadbeat dad. That's his real title. He's her baby daddy who knocked her up and didn't give a damn because he's an Italian high blood. Some are bad. Some are good. The bad ones are the ones you gotta watch out for because they'll fuck you, they'll lie to you, and they'll screw you over 3 times the Sunday. And they don't care who you are. They're deceitfully wicked. Oh, they are. Especially the men. When it comes to male on male love, there's zero. You're cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice love. Right? You pretend it's the woman when really it's you, sir, singing the song. I know. Men are usually the ones who will sacrifice love and abandon a pregnant woman, not usually the woman, the man. And then she's stuck with his child. Asshole he is. Worse than fucking Mussolini. Excuse my French there, YouTube. Some of these men. Hitler ain't got nothing on his prejudice way of thinking. And you can't reason with him, right? The men you can't reason with are the ones who will bring you down. Not someone who will listen to you and reason with you, right? Come now, let us reason together, saith the Lord in Isaiah chapter 1, but you don't reason with it, right? And your righteousness then is as filthy rags, because God's thoughts are not your thoughts, man of the devil, right? Men of Satan, right? And there are more of you who are calling on Jesus than worshiping Satan like Jack Black. God will sooner you admit you're worshiping Satan like Jack Black than go to Jesus and pretend you know him too. When you're still being the devil in disguise. Oh yes you are, the devil in disguise. You look like an angel, look like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wild, you're the devil in disguise, oh yes you are. And you are, you are the devil in disguise. And the devil's always scheming. His form of schemata. Scheming form. To trick us both into sex with him. Also neither male nor female, but he worships his male side above the female side, right? And hates her being with him, right? He made Lilith. He's the reason there even is a myth of Lilith, right? And you're being like Lilith, his wife, when you're not listening to God and Jesus, right? That's the point, right? Just as cruel as she is. Just as cruel as she is. And men just as wicked as he is. It's not one or the other, it's both you're bringing down. And that's the point. When you do wrong, you affect everyone around you, but even forgiveness ain't wrong, right? What is wrong is condemnation for the same crime, right? If sex is your issue, you don't defeat it by having sex, right? With the wrong person, right? So you don't know who the right person is either. That's the problem too, right? You just know there's an age of consent, and that's the whole point to this whole story I'm telling you, right? A 4-year-old cannot consent. But a 4-year-old can wake you up in the middle of the night, but you can't prove it without being there. Mm-hmm. And only the ex-wife would know if I had to bring her back to her, not the bio dad, right? The sperm donor, let's call him. Who didn't love Daphne enough to marry her. Wonder why. Black is black. I want my baby back. But not him. User and loser. And he's the real loser. Because he can't know what she did or didn't do, right? Whoever this person is, right? They're talking out their butt, right? You can't prove something 30 years later. In 2 more years, this will be 30 years. So it's 28 years now this following coming September, right? That all this started, right? And he's still being dick of the year. Not Tricky Dicky, right? Richard Nixon Dicky, right? This dude puts Richard Nixon as a choir boy, don't he? He does. I know. Or even Jim Jones, right? Or some of those type people, right? Who think, right, with only one part of their anatomy. And gotta feed their demon, right? Their lust. And don't care the gender, right? I'm not talking about those who care about each other either, right? I keep telling you that too. Love ain't the enemy if you really love each other, right? But if you don't really love each other, you're wasting your time. You're just as bad as the corrupted people all over the world, and you're all corrupted then, right? There's no one that does good, says the Old Testament. And Paul said there's no person who lies not. Only God doesn't lie. All it did was make everything through Jesus. But through Jesus, we can come back to God. That's the promise. But we got to go fully. No, we're all in the body of Christ, right? That's the problem too. You forgot that through its in Mr. Constantine, let's call him, and Mr. Orthodox in the church. Right? He's playing Satan's advocate, right? And is acting like the devil himself, right? And when men act like Satan, they behave like Satan, right? Thinking they're of God, right? Thinking they can do whatever they want to do until they die. And they think they're supposed to die, right? Never said that. Never said that. You die because your sins separate you from your God and it cannot hear you anymore. But if it hears me and you tried 5 times and I'm still here, right? And the girl is too, it wasn't our sin, it was yours. Your imagined sin was worse than what we actually did that day. More than likely. But the other girl just showed up and knocked on the door, she said, Drew. Now, what'd you do? Come running up to save her? If you did, you're in my neighborhood, you're butting into some other people's business, right? That's not what a neighborhood watch does, by the way, right? I know it ain't. Interfere with someone fixing the man's cable, right? And that's all I'm really saying happened. I'm asking you a question. Did you say me and the girl would have sex in my house, right? Whether we did or not, right? If you call Comcast, you're showing who thought we wanted to have sex. Was you. And like I told you, I have had women to suddenly have sex with me, right? You think she would be one of them? Okay, right. I don't know. Until she showed up. And it was revealed to be a her, right? Now, usually when I hear the person drive up, I'll leave my bedroom, put on my shorts, and go answer the door. And usually by the time they're at the door, I'm at the door. Usually. Unless they walk up or something and I don't hear them. But I would hear a band from Comcast pulling up. Like I do the mail. Man. and would put on my shorts before they got to the door and wouldn't know it would be a boy or a girl, right? And would either just let them in there, right? And again, right? Once she's in, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to talk about the problem first, right? Which is the cable. Ain't working, right? That's it. Now, if it goes into something more personal, that'll be later on, but yeah. Up to that point, I would be fully dressed and not sure it was a guy or girl, especially. And I would start from my bedroom into the living room, right? And by the time she got to the door, I would be at the door waiting for her to knock or read the doorbell, right? Whichever she did. She said she not. I don't know. I just know 22 minutes later, I'm back in the same place I was before she pulled up. Now that's not normal. I know that. The same way, undressed and would have to get dressed again, right? And I don't know why I was undressed, right? If I heard her pull up, right? So then I'm trying to figure out why was I undressed. When I know if the person came by, I would get dressed. And then go answer the door. I know. Because I got into trouble for that. But when? In 98. That was almost 40 years ago. 26. 20 somewhere. 22. I don't know. But what you're wondering is how is he getting away with it? Well, when the Navy gives you a mentally ill diagnosis, it explains my behavior, but not that of those around me, right? See, other people can act mental towards me just because I'm mentally ill. And they're the ones being sick. See, I'm trying to get better. That's what they don't understand. And they're still sick. They're sicker than me. They won't even get better. Which is the whole point about God and Jesus, right? Even the woman with the issue of blood had to go to the doctors first, right? And then Jesus finally healed her, right? By touching the hem of his garment and through her faith, right? Now, you don't know if all that didn't up till then help her either, but the final act of faith, touching the hem of his garment, right, is what healed her. And sickness runs in the family. If I'm sick, people around me are sicker than me. They just don't want to admit it, right? Or fix it, right? See, I'm trying to fix my illness, right? If you're doing me harm, you're doing me worse, right? That was done me in the Navy, right? And I wasn't around you then, but I learned what was wrong and right, right? Still make mistakes like any human, right? It don't give you a get out of jail free card, but it don't mean you can just do something dumb yourself with me and not be questioned about if you know why did you do it, right? See, if you know I'm mentally ill, you can't do something dumb with me either, right? And say, oh, well, I didn't know that when you did. See, that applies to you as well. But with the diagnosis, see, I can make up things, right? And say I'm making up things. You can't make up things that happened, right? You can't lie about it, right? Or get away with it. Not even once. And you've been lying the whole time I'm on YouTube, right? Because Daphne had access to the police, right? For 2 whole weeks, right? Before I got locked out the room on base, right? She could have been gone to the police, right? And they had no evidence to arrest me on. Do you understand, right? Just an accusation of letting your stepdaughter wake someone up, right, don't mean you had any choice in the matter either. You would just have to deal with it if she did. And the only one trying to make it criminally that I dealt with her is the other person calling themselves Shame on You, Shane, right? And had an account on YouTube too, right? And it wasn't immediately, it was more like 6 months later. And that was still in 2005, right? That's still over 10 years after, right? Like I said before. But you don't listen either, and